Creation myths were created by religious leaders of a certain culture to portray different beliefs among their group of people. Some of these myths were created to make people have certain perspectives on life. Babylonians, for example, believed that their creator lived in their country and started the world from Babylon. It made them believe that they were superior. When they went to war, they were prideful of their country and fought bravely. Teens use religions or myths to learn what's right from wrong and how to live their lives through a belief. They learn the creation of the world and mankind through some type of religious book, church, or worship. Teens are often born into a religion and follow what their parents believe.
Religion teaches teens how to live and what they need to live by, and it gives them something to believe in. It also teaches them what is right and what is wrong, and it gives them morals.
I think that religion impacts teens by the fact that religion really brings meaning to one's life. And when a person, a teen especially, goes through many traumatic experiences during adolescence, lots of changes, physical changes, emotional changes, and having a root and an anchor, which is really what religion is, can really help a teen really get through different stages of life into adulthood and into making decisions that will impact the rest of their life.
Affects the people they hang out with, like what friends they have, and their whole social life.
Teens are easily influenced by what they hear, so when they're being influenced by godly music, they're more likely to have more godly thoughts. So whenever they listen to these things, they usually have a better Christian mentality.
The similarities between Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and Confucianism are that they all believe in a greater God. They also all have a holy book. Christians read the Bible, Hindus read the Quran, and Jews read the Torah. The differences between these religions are that they believe in different afterlives. Christians believe in heaven, Hindus believe in reincarnation. Many of these religions contradict each other. Christians believe that there is only one God. Hindus believe in multiple different gods. There has always been a clash between different religions because of all the contradictions. Misunderstandings can also cause conflicts between religion. When a person doesn't fully understand something, it causes them to become confused or angry, which leads to conflict.
Well, obviously, all religions believe in God. They believe in some type of deity, and the fact that there's someone in charge and someone who is making the rules and guidelines by which we live our lives. And that anchor is really what keeps us settled and on the straight and narrow.
Rome fought many battles in order to keep their power and spent a lot of money on warfare. America is also spending a lot of money on warfare in Iraq and Afghanistan. Both the Roman Empire and the U.S. government are corrupt. There was a three-way split between the Roman Empire, which caused their people to become less faithful to their country, and also caused their soldiers to become less loyal. In America, there are two different political parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. The parties have different views and opinions. The recent healthcare plan has also caused a split in the Republican Party. The difference between Rome and the U.S. is that the Roman Empire has an authoritarian rule, and the U.S. has more freedom.
Realize that whatever your different religious beliefs and whatever your different ideas and ideologies or whatever, you just gotta agree to disagree with other people. Like you can't force what you believe on someone else. As long as that person is not hurting you directly, you can't force exactly what you believe on other people.
I'm a believer, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, so my religion does not. My religion would say that you are to humble yourself, that I should make myself the very least of all people, that I should walk as Jesus walked on this earth. He humbled himself to the point of death, even death on a cross. And the point of his life was serving others, humbling himself, and putting others' needs before his own. So the way Christian perspective, if we can say that, because I think that term gets thrown around very loosely these days. But for the sake of this conversation, a Christian perspective would be that no one is better than anyone else. We are all in need of something, and that something is to be reconciled to a holy God. So I would say that social classes, as from the point of Christianity, the answer to that question would be no. We're all equal because we all have the exact same need, and that is we need Jesus. We need to be reconciled to God. Needs, if you will.
So, do you think people treat others differently depending on their religion?
Unfortunately, I do. In some ways, I think that can be a good thing. I am going to treat people who do not believe in Jesus Christ different than people who do believe in Jesus, because that's what I'm called to according to Scripture. Scripture would tell me that if I have a brother or sister that I know loves and trusts Jesus with their life, that if I see them in sin, I am to go to them, I am to rebuke them, I am to call them back to the narrow path, to follow Christ and all that they do. Their hearts should long to be near the Lord, knowing that in sin, they're further from God. I want people to do that in my life. So for people who don't believe in Christianity, who don't believe in Jesus, I should say, I am not going to treat them the same as someone who does. I cannot rebuke someone for what they do if they don't believe in Jesus. I'm not going to approach them the same way, because my call in general to every single person around me is to love as Christ loved me. So me loving as Christ loved me to a believer looks very different than how I would treat someone as Christ loved me to a non-believer.
Rome fought many battles in order to keep their power and spent a lot of money on warfare. America is also spending a lot of money on warfare in Iraq and Afghanistan. Both the Roman Empire and the U.S. government are corrupt. There was a three-way split between the Roman Empire, which caused their people to become less faithful to their country, and also caused their soldiers to become less loyal. In America, there are two different political parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. The parties have different views and opinions. The recent healthcare plan has also caused a split in the Republican Party. The difference between Rome and the U.S. is that the Roman Empire has an authoritarian rule and the U.S. has more freedom.
Well, I think that teenagers now in 9/11 were just little kids. I didn't understand or grasp the concept of what was happening at the time. So I think the religious change and mindset actually probably happened with their parents and how they viewed religion as a whole around the world. You know, you saw the faces of the people that were involved in the attack of 9/11, and you automatically assume or associate Islam with terrorism, and that Islam or anybody from the Middle East is going to blow up, you know, our country. And I think racial profiling has been out of it, which is unfortunate because just basic human rights, everybody deserves to be treated fairly. But on the flip side of that, people have to be conscious and respect the fact that a terrorist attack, people came to our country with the intent to kill Americans. And so are we hesitant to just trust? I think so. But seeing in the future of the way we look at religion, I think we have to respect everybody's viewpoint and be tolerant of everybody's perspective on religion.
Well, it has changed, I think, quite a bit, because now we see certain religions that were involved in the 9/11 attacks as a concern, because we fear for our lives, we fear for another terrorist attack. I can speak from my point of view. I was in Iraq. I dealt with that type of religion, different religion, and it has made me very aware. But you also have to document yourself, and you have to get the knowledge and understand that what happened that day was an extremist point of view, and that the normal trend of that religion does not allow that kind of violence. So it's just, I think, getting the information correct for us to make those further decisions.
I think so. I think that not 11 didn't really do anything to really change that. I think everyone's always kind of looked at other religions differently than their own. And like I said, I don't think 9/11 changed that. I think they still view them negatively because they're not their own and they don't understand it. And when you don't understand something, of course, you're going to think it's wrong or negative. I think that we have also looked into and dissected the Islam faith a little bit more because a lot of people didn't understand who these people were, what they believed in, and why they would do something like this to our country. So I think that we have studied it a little bit more, not that we're all knowing and all knowledgeable because a lot of negative stuff has come out of it as well, but I think people are starting to educate themselves a little more on all religions around the world and what they believe in.
I believe they do. And the reason I say this is because, like I mentioned before, we fear another terrorist attack, which was motivated in part by religion. So that's what I base my
Pi approaches religion by opening up his mind to all religions and learning about them. Religious tolerance could exist in the US, but first, society needs to accept the differences of people and their religions. People would have to be more open-minded, respectful, and patient in order to understand a religion other than their own. Then there would be more peace between religions because people would be more open to different religions and ideas. Therefore, people could accept each other and believe what they believe. No religion would be dominant. Instead, all would be equal. People would practice their own religion without causing problems with others.
I believe, although geared towards Christianity in the United States, they've done a pretty good job at making it a peaceful environment for all religions. I think there can be. It's not very physical in the United States, but I know there's a lot of kind of wars between some religions. I think our laws don't really affect our beliefs and practices too much because we have religious freedom, so we're all allowed to practice whatever religion we want. But I think it's society in the United States that kind of changes that. Like, a lot of people don't like atheists in America. So. I think that most schools do teach religion with a bias because that's just the teacher's viewpoint. And it all depends on which school you go to. I know there are laws around it, like we're not supposed to teach religion in school or push it upon people, but especially in the South, just statistically, Christianity is more focused on in the curriculum.
How do you feel about us being able to pray at a football game or saying "In God We Trust" in our pledge or a Texas pledge? Does that affect how you believe?
I think it doesn't affect how I believe if we have prayer circles or if we have God in our Pledge of Allegiance, but I know that some people, especially young people, since the pledge is taught to us at such a young age, it's automatically put into our minds that God is a part. And I think it does affect some people, it does kind of put into their minds that God is something that all Americans believe in, especially since it's in the pledge and we have to say that every single day. And I think at schools, it should be allowed, but if any controversy comes up about it, then they shouldn't allow it because it is a public place.
Yeah, I think they do. I think that, when you're born into a society that has laws about, that has a set of laws, you grow up thinking that the laws are correct. That's what you're taught. And it's ingrained in your mind that that's the correct way to be. And it's very difficult for you to see other ways of being
football games, do you think that like could become like conflict? Like that could cause conflict for people?
Yeah,